What if I told you that mastering the art of accounts payable could be the key to unlocking financial success, both for your organization and consequently for you as well? It's true, and today I'm going to show you how to do it. We've got 5 simple tips to help you stay on top of your accounts payable process, ensuring the organization's bottom line and cementing your professional standings. Make sure you stick around until the end when we share the one area most frequently overlooked by professionals looking to strengthen their standing within the organization. Hey guys, I'm Mary Schaefer, founder of AP Now, your one-stop shopping for cutting-edge business intelligence if you work in, manage, or have responsibility for the accounts payable and or payment function. So let's dive right in. Area number one, step number one, watch out for new frauds and innovative twists on old ones. Question anything that is a change to your existing processes or the normal way you do things, as well as anything that looks too good to be true. The last is especially important in your personal life. I recently heard an absolutely heartbreaking story about a man who responded to what he thought was an email from his real estate agent and ended up wiring his down payment for a new home, $60,000, to what turned out to be a criminal. He ended up not being able to purchase the home. So my new mantra on everything related to fraud and processing is verify, verify, verify. Location, location, location in real estate. Now it's verify, verify, verify. You cannot be too safe. Better to ask somebody, hey, did you really mean for me to wire this money here? Did you really mean this or that? Than to have to go and, apologize and have lost a lot of money for your organization. So verify anything out of the ordinary. Step number 2, incorporate as many best practices into your accounts payable function as possible. Now, realize that no one uses them all. We at AP Now, we regularly survey our members, and even those members who are at best practice organizations, when the information comes back and we look at it, we realize that yes, they're using a lot of best practices, but in some areas they're not. Nobody uses 100%. So don't beat yourself up if you're not using 100% best practices. Okay, but incorporate as many of them as you can because it'll make you more efficient, fraud resistant, stronger and internal controls, the whole bit. Now, the other thing about incorporating best practices is you need to realize that they change from time to time based on what's going on in the market. It could be new frauds, as I've already talked about. It could be new technology that all of a sudden has gotten much less expensive. It's now affordable for your organization. It could be new regulatory changes. We're seeing a ton of them coming at us. They seem to constantly increase. There never seems to be a decrease. Nobody ever comes, it seems to me anyway, cynic that I am, and says, hey, you don't have to do that anymore. It's like, no, in addition to one, you need to do 2 and 3 and 4. So you want to incorporate as many best practices as you can. They will change, but so that's number 2. I'll stop talking about it. Number 3, and this is going to become increasingly important as time goes on, beef up your analytical skills. Now, before you all start huffing and puffing about, oh, that's so complicated, that's difficult, how am I supposed to do that? I've got a really easy way for you to do it. Remember, Rome wasn't built in a day. And so while it would be nice if your company would send you to an analytics course or you take one on your own, the reality is for most of us, that's probably not going to happen. But if you can devote 5 to 10 minutes a day, maybe half an hour a week, but five, real short increments work better. I've got the plan for you. What you want to do is you want to get on YouTube, or you can, get on the internet and Google and find articles. You can do one or the other, or you can buy a book about Excel. Okay, and Excel has many different features, and you don't want to learn it all in one day. You want to learn one feature per day, one little trick per day. And if you start small and you learn, one today, one tomorrow, by the end of the month, you'll have spent 150 minutes if you do this every day for 5 minutes, which is 2.5 hours, and you'll have amped up your skills quite a bit. And then, you keep at it. So just a few minutes a day, maybe, 20 minutes once a week, whatever you want, take some time and amp it up. And then, start playing around. Okay, with, in Excel, we all have Excel, so start playing around with the Excel spreadsheet, or if you're using Google Sheets. Okay, you get where I'm going with that. Now, the next area, the fourth tip that I want to give you has to do with regulatory issues. I've kind of alluded to it, but the regulatory issues continue to pile on. Now, most of these are country specific. Okay, so if you're lucky and you're only doing business in one country, then you just need to know whatever the regulatory issues are for that country. But if you're doing business in several countries, then you need to explore what the regulatory requirements are in those countries. And one of the areas that we're seeing a big explosion of requirements, although it's not in the United States at this point, in fact, we're not even talking about it here, is mandatory electronic invoicing. And we're starting to see that in Asia. We're starting to see it in some European countries, Mexico, South America. Okay, so lots of other countries are going to this. But, for yourself, we have to stay on top of the regulatory issues in our country. And for example, in the United States, many states are starting to have 1099 reporting requirements separate from the ones at the federal level. So you might want to periodically check your state websites to see if your state is one of them, or if they have some new regulatory requirement, some reporting that didn't have to be done. We all know that the states who have it are wonderful for changing the sales and use tax rates. Okay, I'll stop ranting and raving about that. You get where I'm going. Okay, now before we get to the last area, and this is an area that is overlooked so often, and it often gets people into career trouble, I'd like to share that we have over 300 videos in our library on YouTube and on the podcasting channels, with new AP and payment videos being added every Tuesday and Thursday, and on other days of the weeks, we are adding shorts, at least on YouTube. And occasionally on Saturdays, we have a little Wordle fun. So please check out our channel after you finish watching this one. And, we're getting there. Okay, so the last issue, and it sounds pretty simple, and you may say, oh, I'm doing that. But think about it. Are you really? Okay, and that is to stay current. And staying current changes rapidly, as you're probably well aware. Some of you may remember it's about 20 years, maybe even a little bit more ago, when pages were all the rage for staying in touch, and everybody had to have a pager. Well, everybody except Mary Schaefer. But anyway, especially the kids, they all wanted them. And then in a few years, it was gone. So that's the same that goes for your best practices. You need to start using whatever's best practice today, but stay on top of the different changes so that you can stay current, know what's going on, and make the adjustments, the necessary changes to your operations. I talked at the beginning about new frauds. We don't learn about new frauds through osmosis. We learn about new frauds from reading, from listening to people talk, from talking to our peers, from networking, and from communicating. So that's another example. So stay current. It's more important now than ever, with all the regulatory changes, with all the new frauds coming at us, with the new technology. Now, when we talk about staying current on the latest issues impacting the accounts payable function, that's a pretty broad range because there are so many different areas that impact accounts payable. In fact, the last time I counted, there were 30. That's right, 30. I know because I recently did a talk. Who knew accounts payable was so complicated? 30 basic topics you need to know. You can watch it right now using a link that will appear momentarily on your YouTube screen and is in the show notes below. As always, we appreciate your thumbs up, your comments, your shares, and your subscribe.